Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to show you how I like to dial in my sounds when I'm doing acoustic tones with the Line 6 Variax guitar. If you've watched my channel at all, most likely you know what a Variax is. I play one in every video. In case you don't, it's Line 6's digital modeling guitar. However, the method I'm going to show you that I like to use for dialing in my acoustic tones will work just fine if you're using a regular electric acoustic, because we're going to be dealing with mostly EQ and compression, which is those are very helpful tools regardless of what you're playing. If you are a Variax user, if you want to check out the presets I have available for the guitar on the Line 6 Marketplace, I'll have a link in the description below for that. In my opinion, it improves the sounds of the Variax as well as expands the tonal possibilities. So with that out of the way, we're going to hop over into Ableton Live, which is the DAW I use. But again, everything I'm doing is using very basic tools that can be used with any system that you have. So let's hop over and take a look. Okay, so here we are in Ableton. Basically, I've got one track, and in that track, I've recorded a little bit of just some chord strumming with my Variax going straight into the audio interface. No signal processing, nothing. Just the guitar itself. And this is what I'm going to have this on a loop, but this is what it sounds like. Well, I'm going to get the play and start in the right place. And this is what it sounds like. It sounds like an acoustic guitar, but it's kind of bland to be nice about it. So what I've done here is I've got this spectrum analyzer here, and when I play it back, you'll see it's hopping around a bit, and this is telling me kind of what's going on with different frequencies. I'm going to expand this out, make it a little bigger. So, and then this, basically, once it's done, we can kind of see this picture of where it's peaking. So, as an example, we're seeing this peak here at 182 hertz. We're seeing another little bit here around 90-ish, 88, 90, 92. A little bit here, but I think that's okay where it's at. And then we're lacking a little bit in this 1K and up range. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pull up an instance of Helix native, just because I know a lot of you guys that watch this channel are Helix people. And so this is going to be nice for you because it's the exact tools you have to work with. But if you're just doing this with regular EQs and compressors, it all works the same. You don't need to use native for this. You can use in Ableton. I would just use the built-in plugins. That out of the way. All right. Since this clip is recorded in stereo, we're going to do a parametric equalizer. Now, again, let's take a look on the frequency spectrum analyzer here before we make any changes. Like I said, the highest peak we're seeing is around 180, 182, right? So let's go and we'll use the mid frequency here. And we're going to go to the frequency of that, say 182, all right? I'm going to raise the Q up. What that does is basically it narrows the range that this gain cut or boost will affect. So if it's a low number, it's very open. It's going to have more of a sweeping effect. The higher you go, the tighter it gets. So the higher it is, you're more targeting in on that frequency versus a more broad spectrum approach. So we've got, we'll keep that Q right where it's at. I'm going to pull down, let's see, about 3.5-ish decibels. So let's play that back and see. Now I have the spectrum analyzer after Helix native. So as the playback happens, we should see some changes reflected in the analyzer as well. So that's where we were getting our peak. It's still the highest point here, so let's pull back even more. So you can hear as I flip the plug-in, which right now it's just an EQ on and off. Listen for how it cleans up the muddiness of the lower mids. So that's getting better. Let's see, again, we had something around the 80, let's call it 83. Let's pull just a little bit off of that, not as much. Low frequency, 83. We'll keep a fairly high Q as well. And then we'll just pull down a little bit. So you can see it cleans it up quite a bit. Let's look at the higher end of the spectrum, and everything's pretty flat. So I'm gonna try starting around 1K and boost a little bit to see if it brings maybe a little more of the high end sparkle out of it. So let's start at 1K. We'll do kind of a medium Q, because the reason being there's a pretty wide section that's flat. So the wider Q is going to affect a wider range of that. So let's start with that, and let's go ahead and boost it a little bit. We'll start by hearing it without. Turn it on. So actually kind of like what it does down here, 1 to 1.3, and I don't hate it up around 2.5. So I'm just going to pick one. So here, the higher, when I'm boosting it higher up, we're getting a little more nasality to it. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to stay there then. I like that position. Low cut, I'm going to just take a little like low out, just in case anything's getting weird. So let's hear it on and off again. Okay. Actually, I'm going to do away with the low cut because I think we're fine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add another EQ that I'm just going to do a high-low shelf. And what this is going to allow me to do is we've kind of done, a couple of notches down. We've got one kind of wide notch going up. And I'm actually going to I'm going to take the shelf where I can basically either go, up or down on the ends of the spectrum. So I'm going to we'll start with the high because I still feel like I could get more high end out of it in a comfortable way. So I'm going to start up around 7K-ish. We'll just see, and boost up the high end a little bit. So it's subtle, but you can hear a little more of the high end attack there. I'm also going to just play around with the low frequency push because we've taken a couple big notches out down towards the low end. So I'm just going to give this a try real quick. Sweep through the frequency, boost it up a little bit. Sweep through the frequency and see if there's anything that feels like it's improving the overall tone, or if it, ideally, I feel like we've cut the muddiness out with the parametric EQ. If we can add in any oomph, it's so funny the words we use to describe these sounds. But anyway, if we can add in like a little low end kick without bringing back in any of that kind of nasality or muddiness, rather, all we gotta do is try it. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I think we're hearing improvements there. So I'm going to turn the plugin off. All right, then plug it on. So to me, it sounds a lot better. I did pull some pretty good notches out towards the low end. If you feel like if you do something like this, and let's say you follow these settings as a starting point, and you feel like you've lost more of the bottom end, then you won't just go back to this parametric EQ and start raising up these gain cuts. The middle in particular, around what do we end up with? 182 hertz. Got a lot of 6 dB pulling out. So you can just adjust this as you see fit, as what you find works for you. And here with it may seem a little counterintuitive in that I've pulled out the low end, but then I'm using a shelf EQ to put low end back. This is where on the surface, yeah, that may not make as much sense, but that's where you just use your ears, throw something on there, try something, and see if if it works. And in this case, I think it does. I do want to put a little bit of compression on here. Excuse me. I'll just do the deluxe compressor. Just kind of some standard go-to settings. Pull this down because I don't know where we're going to be at. Here, I mean, obviously louder sounds more in your face, but you can hear how that compressor is pushing it forward and kind of, does what a compressor does, smooths things out. So you can see, as when it hits the louder parts, we are getting some compression and some gain reduction. So that's what we want. We want to, push it forward, but make sure that compressor kind of caps the top off. So we'll hear again, no plug-in, and then I'll turn the plug-in back on with all 3 blocks. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it's louder, so that gives you the perception that it sounds better regardless, but it's more in your face and forward, while also taking out some of that muddy and boominess that we're hearing with no EQ or compression whatsoever. And of course, we have these tools here. Why not use them? So a little reverb on there. Let's do the room. I'm not a massive reverb guy, so I'm not going crazy or anything, but let's hear we just want to get some nice room sounds. So as you can hear, quite a lot of difference. So this is a fun technique if you don't have Helix native. And by the way, speaking of Helix, I'll export that preset and upload it for you guys to try out. But let's say I'm not a Helix user and I'm in Ableton Live. Same kind of thing. Throw an EQ on there, and let's do a compressor. And this is going to be the exact same thing that we just did, basically. And I'm actually going to turn this off because in Ableton, the EQ has a spectrum analyzer going for it. So. We'll give it 180. So I didn't spend as much time doing that. I just wanted to show you a different workflow to achieve the same goal. And the nice thing about having these plugins like in Ableton's EQ, it's very visual. We were using the spectrum analyzer to get our visual for where the peaks and valleys were. But this is a nice setup as well, being able to see it and work with it in real time. And you can go the other way with this also, which I've done, and that I'll work it out with the Ableton EQ, and then I'll just come in and look at the frequencies and cuts and Q, and I'll just go into Helix and recreate that for my live presets. So you can go either way on that. The end result is pretty much the same. So anyway, I hope that was helpful. It's to me a very effective technique. Again, not just with the Variax. If I, when I do have some regular acoustic guitars I play for certain gigs and things, and this is the same kind of technique I would use for doing that as well. So if you're not a Variax user, this should still be somewhat useful for you. If you're a Helix person, I will have a link to download that preset in the description below, as well as, again, the links to my Variax presets on the Line 6 Marketplace. And the preset bundles all come with a Helix preset. And with the Helix preset, I've used this kind of technique to add some nice EQ and compression to the acoustic settings, which you will get with that preset if you get the preset pack. So all that being said, thanks for checking out the video. I always appreciate you guys. Leave comments below. Let me know your thoughts, questions you might have about this method or any other, kind of methods of this nature or recording methods you'd like to see further on this channel anyway. And like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And we'll see you next time.